Greetings, Missouri Mid-South. I'm filming this video in Atlanta, Georgia, where I've just spent the last week attending AM 21. That stands for Authorizing Ministry in the 21st Century. Damien and I gathered with UCC conference staff from all over the country, as well as many national setting staff and members of committees on ministry for a week of conversations, meetings, workshops, worship, fellowship, and discernment focused on creating a manual on church, a resource for support and guidance of local congregations similar to our manual on ministry, which is a resource for support and guidance of authorized ministers. For the last 3 years, a manual on church working group has convened with the support of national setting staff, working through a process of creating this resource that would inform all the settings of the UCC in our various efforts to support churches. At our gathering this week, we got to see an early draft of the manual, testing the ideas to consider what would and wouldn't apply to the congregations we serve, asking tough questions about what our churches have needed in the past and what they might need in the future, providing feedback and suggestions to the working group so that they can make the manual even better. The kinds of conversations we engaged here reminded me of the kinds of conversations we engaged in Missouri Mid-South at our conference annual gathering this year. There, we asked about what individuals need, what the local church needs, what the nature of conference ministry is and should be. This week, we've asked really challenging questions about the nature of a local congregation, how to define a church, what to do when our many and varied UCC identities seem like they don't line up with each other as well as we'd like, and how we understand what autonomy, accountability, and covenant mean for how we live together as a wider church, made up of people who are each members of a local church, how we keep our commitments to each other when our values challenge our relationships together. I know all that theory doesn't appeal to everyone. These are the kinds of conversations that I love, and I'm grateful to get to engage them on your behalf. We're in a time of great change in the life of the church as a whole. What it means to be church is itself a question we have to ask, because we're not all in alignment. And the answers to questions like that matter for how we live together. They're not just theory. We put them into practice when we talk about how we make decisions about our money, or about our time, or about our worship, or the ministries that we do, or whose voices and ideas we will hear and consider. How we define a local congregation is changing as we incorporate new experiences of creating community online, or how we understand membership, or how we develop trust. This manual draft is just a first draft. We're not going to have a new manual on church to adopt at General Synod this year. The resource won't be ready because it takes a long time to shape a resource like this. These questions are important enough to take a long time to consider. It's appropriate then that we did this work during Advent, when waiting is a practice that gives our faith particular depth and strength. We're going to be waiting a long time for this manual to be finalized. But the faith of the church, your local congregation, and every setting of the United Church of Christ, the faith of the church will be deepened and strengthened by the questions we ask and the commitments we make together in the course of this waiting. This Advent, I pray that you may be able to ask these kinds of questions in community with one another. And may your faith and your local congregation and the whole United Church of Christ be strengthened for the asking. In anticipation, this is my prayer. Amen.